Last night, the Carolina Hurricanes were able to come away with a very clutch win against the Boston Bruins. Find out how they did it, as well as some fun stats as to how the Hurricanes have been performing against the Bruins over the last few years in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Thursday afternoon. And today's episode is brought to you by the folks over at FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Visit fanduel.com/locked on to get started. Now, last night, the Carolina Hurricanes were able to get the win against the Boston Bruins up in Boston, no less. And one fun thing with this game was that Spencer Martin was able to win his debut with the Hurricanes. He was picked up on waivers last weekend. I believe it was on Friday or Saturday. He was picked up on waivers from the Columbus Blue Jackets. So for him to come in so quickly, less than a week, and already getting his first win, that was really, really fun for him. And, one thing that I think has kind of flown under the radar a little bit with him in this game was that this was his fourth time playing the Bruins this season. And I do think that came in handy. This was something that was pointed out in the Hurricanes recap. That it was his fourth time that he's played against the Bruins this season. And I definitely think that was something that played a part in this. He made some really clutch saves early on. And I mean, he played well throughout the game, but he really kept the Canes in it early when I believe it was Jalen Chatfield got called for tripping. Yes, Jalen Chatfield tripping against Morgan Geekie 3 minutes and 1 second into the game. Martin's performance on the PK there, I definitely think really helped get the Canes going in this game. And because, we've seen many times where, a team gets a power play early and the game gets out of hand for the opposing team early as well. And this was actually the Hurricanes' first road game in 19 days. Uh, they've obviously been playing at home, obviously, but they've also had some weird gaps in their schedule as well, kind of bloating that number a little bit. And Martin Necas, he was able to stay hot in this game. He has now scored in 3 consecutive games. The goal in the game against the Bruins was also on the power play. So the Hurricanes' power play is continuing to stay hot and be one of the best in the NHL. We've been doing this a lot here lately, just kind of seeing where the Hurricanes power play is stacking up in the league. And, that's what we're going to continue to do as well, because I am really enjoying every time the Hurricanes have a good game on the power play, going and seeing where they're at in the rankings in the NHL. I'm really enjoying doing that. And right now they are sitting at number 3 in the NHL behind only the New York Rangers and Tampa Bay Lightning. The Hurricanes being at 27.7%, Rangers at 28.1, and the Lightning at 30.5. And just out of curiosity, the Hurricanes PK has also moved into the top 5, also now sitting at 83.8%, behind the Calgary Flames at 3 with 84.4. The Philadelphia Flyers in second at 85.2, and the LA Kings at number 1 at 87.5% on the PK. And just to round out the top 5, number 5 is the Dallas Stars at 83.3. Just to make it even, give us the full top 5 there. But yeah, the Hurricanes special teams have been really, really rolling. I believe they went 2 for 3 in this game against the Bruins. Yes, 2 for 3, 66.7% on the power play. And then the Hurricanes penalty killing, holding the Bruins, or rather handing the Bruins a big fat goose egg on the power play. The Bruins went 0 for 4 on the power play in this game. So, the Hurricanes, they're rolling in special teams, and everyone is going out there and contributing. I've said many times, over the years that this team's at their best when everyone's going and doing their thing. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different Hurricanes record points in this game. Sebastian Aho and Teuvo Teravainen both having multi-point nights, with Teravainen also having a power play goal, and Sebastian Aho having assists on the Teravainen and Martinet goal. And speaking of that Martinet goal, really coming in clutch for the Hurricanes in this game. Scoring as late as he did in the game. Scored with 2:27 left in the third to give the Hurricanes that 3-2 win. And the Hurricanes, they're rolling and they've found their groove, and it is really entertaining to watch. I think one thing that is going to be interesting, we'll talk about that later on today, is them going into the second half of a back-to-back. Can the Hurricanes keep this momentum up in their next game against the New Jersey Devils? That's going to be really interesting to watch. We'll dissect that in another episode. But the Hurricanes, they played well last night against the Bruins, and they did a lot. Or I should say they got, how would I even word this? In Earlier in the year, when late goals were always costing them games, in this game against the Bruins, it was something that really helped them. I have no idea where I was originally trying to get that sentence to go, but that was something that was really fun to see, because it's been frustrating this year when late goals have cost them, and we will talk about how the late goals helped them in this game right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, the NFL regular season has wrapped up and they are in the midst of the playoffs, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's number one sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is also so easy to use, and there's so many different ways to bet, like live same game parlays, find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, which is the best way to find popular parlays, and more. And plus, you're also not just limited to the NFL. NBA's going on right now, NHL is going on before we know it. MLB will be back as well. So visit fanduel.com/locked on and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Now, late goals have cost the Hurricanes quite a bit this season. So, in this game against the Bruins, it was nice to see them be on the right side of those, because it's been frustrating seeing that. And all of their goals in this game came late in their respective periods. The Martin Necas power play goal came at 18:04 in the first period. The Teuvo Teravainen power play goal came 11:50 into the second, and then Jordan Martinook's goal came at 17:33 in the third. So, the Hurricanes, they played really well. They got up, into that 2-0 lead, and I think they did a really good job at holding Boston off there in the third period, um, because that easily could have gotten out of hand. We've seen many times how the Hurricanes can get comfy with the lead, and I think we all were kind of thinking that last night when that 2-0 lead evaporated, and you know because again, we've seen that so many times, so I'm really proud of them for fighting back, the way they did, and then to have Jordan Martinook come in clutch like he did, that is really, really good, and I think that's, could be a real good confidence building win for this team because, like I said, they've been on the wrong end of that so many times of having a lead, blowing it, late goals costing them, so for them to be able to be in that same situation that they've been in several times this season and to finally be coming out of it on the winning side, I think that's pretty stinking good. And I think that's one that they can definitely hold their heads high about. Um, because again, it feels like they've been in this situation a lot this season and they came out on the wrong end of it. And while we're sitting here, talking about a game against the Bruins, uh, it's many God, yeah, how many times over the past however many years it's been, the Bruins have almost always been able to get the best of the Hurricanes. I mean, you look at this current era, you go back to 2019 conference final, you go back to the bubble, um, and even, your regular season games as well. Just how it felt like Boston would always get the best of the Hurricanes. They're the mean older brother, and you couldn't get past them. But now, that's not the case. NHL Network, put out this after the game. And this is since the 2021-2022 season. The Hurricanes are 5-0-2 against the Bruins with 28 goals, 10 goals assists, power play operating at 35.7%, and the PK at 90.6%. So the roles have definitely switched now. I mean, I've said that for the past few years. It does feel like, you've seen that kind of change of, oh, it's not Washington, Boston, Pittsburgh, always on top, of the Eastern Conference. There's other new top teams up in the Eastern Conference. You have, your Hurricanes, you have your Lightning, you have your Panthers. The Devils, I know they're not as good as we kind of expect them to be this year, but I think they're worth mentioning. Your Rangers, there's a lot of really good teams in the Eastern Conference that have kind of taken that mantle from those older teams. But again, this is a game, as a whole. I'm happy with the Hurricanes with this one. It's also a mom's trip as well. So, you love them being able to have a win, you know, with their moms in attendance and it being a win where they really had to fight and claw. It just kind of makes it feel like it's that much more special for them, making that trip. Uh, Not that it would have been memorable to begin with, but that much more. Just like, oh man, that was a really good game. Um, so you do love that for them also, and it's and because of how much they had to fight in this game does kind of make you wonder how things are going to go in their next one against the New Jersey Devils. But again, we will talk all about that in its own episode because that's going to be a really fun game to watch tonight. I'm really looking forward to that one and seeing how the Hurricanes are going to come out with that one. Obviously, a division rival. But one thing we always like to do is look at what the players and Rod Brind'amour had to say after the game. And we will do that yet again right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, we're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find a quality candidate fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And if Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster, 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. Now, folks, and join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at indeed.com/locked on. Just go to indeed.com/locked on right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/locked on. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Now, I always have fun looking at these player quotes after the game. Um, We've had some real fun ones this season, and some not so fun ones also, looking at when they were really, really struggling. But, tonight they did come out on the winning side, of course, so that's very fun. And Jordan Martinook, when asked about describing his game winner, said, quote, "I just tried to shoot real quick. I didn't really hit the spot I wanted to hit, but sometimes you catch the goalie off guard, and I feel like that's what it did. It went in. So that's all that matters." And yeah, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. He came up clutch when the Hurricanes needed him to come up clutch, and the Hurricanes got the win, and they got the 2 points. I'm sure a lot of folks thought, all right, we're at least going to get a point out of this game. But, the Hurricanes got the 2 points. The Bruins walked away with not only a goose egg on their power play, a power play in the point column as well. Um, and yeah, I'm really happy for Jordan Martinook getting that game winning goal. One thing, with that goal he had last night, that was his sixth goal in the month of January, and he's had five in his last 6 games. And these 6 games are the most in a calendar month in his NHL career. He's played over 600 games. So for him to be on fire the way he is, that is absolutely fantastic. And I really hope it continues for him. Ron Brind'amour, I think he kind of recapped this game the best. He was, sharing his perspective on the game. He said, quote, "You knew it was going to be a tight game. I think they were probably a little off, and we were pretty good about not giving them in the first 2 periods. You knew it wasn't going to be like that all game, and the worst thing that could happen for us was they got a goal on the first shift of the third. Then they got momentum, but I give our guys credit. We had to kill a penalty there with 5 minutes to go. And you could see that the effort was just amazing. It was a hard fought game. We needed the points more than them. So that was good, end quote. And like I said, I was really proud of the Hurricanes for fending off the Bruins the way they did in the third period. I thought that was really good. Um, like Brind'amour said, you knew it wasn't going to be like that all game. You knew the Bruins were eventually going to get something going. And for the Hurricanes to have been able to hold them off, I think that's really good. Yes, I did give, those stats, since the 21-22 season, but, we all remember, the days where, the Hurricanes would be up on the Bruins and the Bruins would fight back and come away with the win. The Hurricanes wouldn't be able to fend them off, or, the Hurricanes just, could never get anything going against them. Yeah, they, could get, some goals here and there, but it was always the Bruins coming away with those wins. So, for the Hurricanes to be at a point now where they can hold off, the Bruins, I think that's great. I think that's really, really great. And just, shows just how this franchise has grown over the past 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it's been now. um, but yeah, it's they definitely needed those points. We'll look real quick to see where they are at in the Metro now. While we're speaking of needing points, they're still at second in the Metro, sitting at 26, 15, and 5 with 57 points. Uh, Gap slowly closing with the Rangers, who are still in first at 29, 15 and 3 and 61 points. So yeah, the Hurricanes are really making that push, and their next game being against the divisional opponent, that's going to be big. Flyers are also right on their heels in third, at 25, 17, and 6 and 56 points. So the Hurricanes they're in a tight spot right now. They're in a tight spot. But they're going to be able to, they've got momentum behind them. I think they can definitely do it. But one more quote from the game, that was from Marty Necas. Power play went 2 for 3 in this game against the Bruins, and he was asked about the power play being as successful as it was. He said, "quote They play aggressive just like us. It was a good game by both of our special teams. Their power play got a goal or two. If their power play got a goal or two, that flipped the game. Our power play goals got us going. Obviously, we've got a little confidence there, and that's key. That's the key to the power play. We're getting used to playing with each other." End quote. Yeah, the Hurricanes power play has momentum behind them, and in heck, not even in years past, earlier this year, that wasn't the case. It looked like, it was really struggling out there, struggling to click, struggling to get on the same page, but they've got it going, and it's coming up big when they need it to. We remember the days, when, the Hurricanes scoring 2 power play goals in a game was just unheard of. It's just like, oh my god, your mind is just blown when something like that happens. But now it's becoming more and more commonplace, for the power play to be showing up the way it has been. And it's been really stinking fun. And I'm really hoping that this momentum that they're building, the the ground they're gaining on the Rangers for the division, I'm really enjoying it. The All-Star break is fast approaching. It'll be here before we know it. So yeah, I want the Hurricanes to really head into that break on a high. I don't want them to just like fall over the line or anything like that. No, I want them to, really finish this stretch strong before the All-Star break. I think it's going to be really fun to watch just how these remaining games go. I want to say it's just the game against the Devils, and then the game against the Coyotes. I believe that's it, as far as what's on their plate before the break. So, they can do it. They're right there. They got stuff going behind them. And then obviously, I want them to come out of that break strong also. But yeah, their next game is against the Devils. I've said it many times, that, they always play. Speaking about Metro teams, they always play each other, that much harder. It doesn't matter where they are in the standings. It could be 1, it could be 8. Doesn't matter. Those teams always bring it that much harder when they play each other. So, the Devils, sitting at fourth in the Metro, the Hurricanes at number 2. Yeah, it's gonna be a really fun game. Yeah, I think, it's the really interesting thing about it is going to be how the Hurricanes can, bounce back, from playing a game like they did against the Bruins, from having to fight back, the way they did. Hopefully, the high they got from winning that game can, carry them in this game, and they can keep that momentum going. That's going to be really interesting to see. Hopefully, they aren't out there looking too gassed or anything. The Devils are coming off a win against Vegas, so they're going to have some momentum behind them as well. That was a overtime win, also. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that game. It's going to be fun. We're going to preview it in another episode, also coming out later on this afternoon. So make sure you are following along at LO_Hurricanes and myself at Jared Ellis _96, folks. And don't forget also subscribe on YouTube, and let's go Canes.